Hey everybody, Mark Johnson here, back again with another movie review. The movie I'll be reviewing today is Hustle. A basketball scout discovers a phenomenal street ball player while in Spain and sees the prospect as his opportunity to get back into the NBA. As we start this film, we are introduced to Stanley Sugarman, which is played by Adam Sandler, and he's an NBA scout for the Philadelphia 76ers organization. He's on the run, going from place to place, game to game, meeting player to player, and we see how stressful that can be. It takes him away from his family, and it's just kind of a sometimes an unrewarding job. At this point, the team or the organization is looking at a prospective prospect, and his name is Haas. The owner of the Philadelphia 76ers in this film is Rex Merrick, which is played by Robert Duvall. He has a son, which is Vince Merrick, which is played by Ben Foster, and a daughter, which is also working in the organization, and her name is Kat Merrick. At a certain point, there is a round table with all these people involved, and they're talking about the upcoming draft, which their choice is probably going to be Haas. But if you leave it up to Stanley, there's some things that he doesn't like about Haas that, in a sense, he would like to rethink about it or think about another prospect. But Vince Merrick, he's on board, which is his son. Rex Merrick is possibly on board, but when he sees Stanley fold within the meeting or back down from his son in the meeting, he kind of comes to him on the back end and kind of talks with him. They're longtime friends, and he wants to show him that that's not how you make moves in the business. And he tells him that never back down. He shares this idea with him, never back down. And he also leads him back into the stadium where he shows him his office, and he's going to make Stanley Sugarman a new assistant coach of the 76ers. And so Stanley's overwhelmed. This is what he's wanted for the longest, right? He gets a chance to go home and share it with his family. And his wife is Teresa Sugarman, which is played by Queen Latifah. And he has a daughter, and so he's sharing with all of them. He's excited that he's back home and that he's going to be now an assistant coach, and that he's not going to have to travel so much. And so as things develop within, it's not necessarily clear how long it is, but it's very soon, and we see that Rex Merrick over, just kind of in passing, Stanley's in his car, and he hears over one of his sports stations, radio shows, that Rex Merrick has died. It's tragic, right? Especially after he just got promoted, and it's kind of, the happiness kind of becomes sadness. We see the funeral where there's a lot of, NBA players, people who either work for the organization, scouts, agents, all these kind of people who are there to bring a good memory to Rex Merrick in his passing. So as it moves along from there, we see that the 76ers select Haas. And as the moment we are, realizing this, we are seeing Stanley on the court with Haas, trying to help him with those areas that he has trouble with. One of the areas is, second effort, defense, just kind of, playing smart basketball. And so as he's doing this, he's on the court with Haas and other players. He's called up to the office, the front office, where Vince Merrick is the new owner and is taking over the organization. And so they have a conversation. He lets Stanley know that he screwed up on the draft pick of Haas, and that he needs him to go and find him that next player, that next unicorn, as they call it, for the 76ers, which means that Stanley has to go back to being a scout and go back on the road, which also means that he's going to miss another birthday of his daughter. And so as much as Stanley's upset, he's kind of like, I want to say he predicted this would happen, but he's definitely upset that this is happening. So he goes back on the road. He kind of pulls back out his list of prospects and, checks them off one by one as he's meeting with them. On this trip, it's seeming like a lot of these prospects are duds, and at one point he goes to a game, and either an assistant coach or someone tells him that the player's not playing, he's injured, and then Stanley's like, why didn't anyone let me know this? And so in that moment of frustration, Stanley, requests to see if he can find a place where he can just shoot some hoops to clear his mind. So he's directed to a court, an outdoor court. And as he walks up on this court, he sees that there's a lot of people just kind of gathered around cheering. It's like there's a lot of excitement going on. And so as he walks in and kind of gets through the people and sees the court, he sees what's going on. There's like, great action. But then there's one player that stands out above all towards him, and he sees that he's wearing construction boots. And so he kind of takes another look, and he sees that this guy's pretty legit. He's hustling the players on the court, but at the same time, he has what Stanley believes is the talent to play in the NBA. So as the game comes to a close and people are cheering, he kind of follows the guy. They get on the bus, and so Stanley sits next to him, and then he uses his phone app or language app to kind of communicate with him, being that there's the language barrier because he doesn't speak English and Stanley doesn't speak any Spanish. And so that doesn't go well. It's an Adam Sandler movie, so you gotta have some funny moments within the film. And so this is kind of where we get those moments as he's meeting this player or this prospect for the first time. We come to find out that this player, his name is Bo Cruz, and he's a real NBA player, and his real name is Yancho Hernangomez. And so as the story follows on, we get the conversation from Stanley back home to Vince and the rest of the crew that he's found this guy. He found the unicorn that the 76ers need right now. And for whatever reason, the conversation doesn't go as Stanley hoped, because the people back home are not necessarily sold on him. There's no, videotape. There's no kind of documentation of his skill. It's just all on the word of Stanley. And so Stanley kind of thinks on it, and he's like, he just can't miss up this opportunity. The team can't miss up on this opportunity. He can't afford to miss on this opportunity. So he doesn't tell Bo Cruz and his family the exact truth, but he brings him back to the States in hope that he can get him into a combine game or some kind of scrimmage, and people will see. And so through some scrambling and some phone calls, he actually calls up one of his closest friends, Leon, which is played by Kenny Smith, which is an actual former NBA player. He gets him into the combine game, where there will be other prospects coming up in the draft, this next coming draft, that he can play against and show his skills. And so Stanley's excited. But as he comes into the gym, he sees that Vince is there. He sees that there's other people, and he knows what he said. He knows what they told him not to do, but he did it anyway. So both sides are a little anxious. So as the game plays out, or the game starts, we see that it's looking like it's going to go for Stanley 100%. Bo Cruz is lights out. He's playing against the top prospects, and he's looking really good. Everyone in the crowd are like, who's that guy? Asking, oh, that's Stanley's guy. Oh, it's kind of, so there's a little bit of buzz becoming from this little bit of a game so far. But soon something creeps in. The top prospect kind of gets into the head of Bo Cruz. A little bit of trash talk. And Bo doesn't handle it well. He gets frustrated. He starts, turning the ball over, missing shots, missing passes, and it's all over. By the end of the game, it's probably the worst game Bo Cruz has ever played. And they both look like Bo Cruz and Stanley both look like people who are on their way out, because with that performance, there's no way, or there's no room for Bo in the NBA. Stanley kind of goes on from there. He kind of looks like he's going to eat some crow, but he still believes in Bo. He believes in Bo so much that in passing after the combine game, he gets into it with Vince. Stanley's just fed up. He's been offered an opportunity to become an agent with Leon and work with players, but he doesn't really want that job. But the same, because he wants to be in the NBA, he wants an opportunity to coach at some point. And so Stanley just lets it loose. He remembers what Rick Mayer told him, never to back down, and he doesn't back down. So in a sense, he doubles up, and he quits for the 76ers, and then he goes full-time to work for Bo, in the sense that he's going to get him ready for the next step, which would be the draft that's coming up, which means it's going to take some work. and getting other people's eyeballs on him so that there could be some buzz around him as the draft comes up. And so the story takes off from there, but you can see the elements that's kind of brought forth. An Adam Sandler film. It's directed by Jeremy Zagar. It's written by Taylor Materney and Will Fetters. It's a 2022 film release through Netflix. It's a film that's about 157 minutes, so just a little short of 2 hours. But I think it fills the time very well. I think that overall the story is very interesting. I've been looking for content like this for a while. And I hope that they keep making films like this. I guess I was looking for something a little more gritty. And when I say gritty, I mean a little bit more true to life of what it's like being a scout, being an NBA, prospect. The life behind the scenes. You should also know that it's executive produced by LeBron James, so you kind of see the way everything ties together. It's a basketball movie made by basketball people. So for Hustle, a 2022 film released through Netflix, directed by Jeremy Zagar, written by Taylor Materney and Will Fetters, I'm giving this film a solid 3. I feel that it's a solid movie. It's definitely entertaining. Again, it's a Adam Sandler film, so there's got to be kind of a happy, kind of a roundabout way this film ends up. And not that I'm downing a happy ending. I'm just more or less, again, understanding, what it takes to be an NBA player. Not everyone makes it there. So that has been my review for Hustle. Hopefully you enjoyed it, and if you did, make sure to give it a thumbs up if you like what I'm doing with the channel, because you watch other reviews or you've seen other content that I have on the channel. Make sure to subscribe. If you have a comment about this film, or maybe you want to share your own thoughts about what you felt on this film, make sure to leave that all in the comment box below. And then lastly, if you don't want to miss any of my upcoming content or reviews, make sure to ring that bell so you don't miss any of my upcoming drops. So again, that's been my review for Hustle, a 2022 film released through Netflix, directed by Jeremy Zagar. Just like we always do at this time, have a blessed day. I will see you on the flip side. Let's go.